Hello and welcome once again to Crisis of Infinite Podcast. And as always, I am your host, Mark Palmer, along with my guest.
Hello, name's Nathaniel. Back again.
All right. We actually have another guest going to join us later. He's just running a bit late. You know him as Shadow Spider, and I would like to let his name be anonymous at this point, as he would like to be referred to as that given moment. Anyways, today we will be celebrating Cartoon Network's 30th anniversary. I have been meaning to do this podcast for quite some time since my first episode was about Nickelodeon. We will not just be discussing about Cartoon Network's main programming, but also Toonami and Adult Swim. So, the first topic on hand is to discuss our exposure to the network. So, as the host, I'll go first. I was exposed to it through commercials that I saw usually like on Nickelodeon, like they advertise like Dexter's Lab, Cow and Chicken, Powerpuff Girls, and the like. And my first cartoon that I saw was Ed, Edd N Eddy. I saw it, like, I believe at a hotel room with my dad at the time. And I didn't get the channel until I was about in middle school. But I did watch some shows at my cousin's house or at a neighbor's house. And does anyone remember about the shorts, movies, music videos, or miniseries like Over the Garden Wall or different IPs like Hanna-Barbera's Godzilla, Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes, He-Man, Transformers,
Are you talking about all the stuff that's on Boomerang?
Not just Boomerang, but like on the main program, like Clone Wars and Superhero Squad. They even showed
Because I believe that Hanna-Barbera made Cartoon Network to help showcase all of their old content.
Yeah, they did.
First.
They showed like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
They didn't start pulling out some of the more of the original content until like
the late 90s, early 2000s.
I want to say yes, maybe more. I'm trying to get a frame of reference to the timeline. Let's see.
Yeah, when did Dexter's Lab come out? Like 96, 97 or earlier?
I want to say around that time frame. Yeah, maybe like 96 or 97.
Wasn't that like their first original programming?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
Because the way I was exposed to Cartoon Network was in the same manner as you did, by having commercials being advertised off of other channels like Nickelodeon. I doubt that Disney ever got that, but but like, yeah, but for the longest time, I did not watch any Cartoon Network show because why bother? I was watching Nickelodeon. I liked the shows on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, true. I mean, I had Nickelodeon for the longest time when I was a kid. And then I think I jumped ship when I went to when I got the Cartoon Network channel because Cartoon Network had more variety. Because, I mean, yeah, Nickelodeon, like, it also had variety. Like, it had some of the live action stuff, like the sketches, like with Amanda Show, all that, Keenan and Kel. And then you had Nick Jr., but that's for little kids. And then
how could you have forgotten the Adventures of Pete and Pete?
Oh, yeah. And also Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then it also had Nick at Night with like reruns of Vival of Lucy and all the
Don't forget Snick
sitcoms. Oh yeah, Snick, that was good.
With like shows that cater toward the
teenage crowd.
Yeah,
like
and then there was Clarissa also Explains It All.
Yeah, and then it also had Teen Nick. But anyways, Cartoon Network even showed a little bit of the 03 TMNT. Because like when I saw an advertisement for TMNT, like I said, coming up next, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, the 87 show? But nope, it was the 03 show. Nothing wrong with the 03 show, but I was expecting to see the 87 show. And speaking of, I don't know if there's like a rights issue with the 87 show. I mean, yeah, they're on DVD, but they're not on any streaming service. Surprisingly.
I think maybe Paramount Plus is trying to get the rights to all the episodes.
Probably. Let's see. So you already explained your exposure?
Well, I didn't get Cartoon Network until I believe until like our cable provider was switched to Oh, crud. What was it called before Spectrum?
Adelphia?
I want to say Adelphia, maybe around that time. I know it was the early 2000s because I was in 6th grade at the time. So I didn't get Cartoon Network until that time, and still I did not watch Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
the only time I did was when there really wasn't anything worth watching on Nickelodeon because I had seen all the episodes of all my favorite shows.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I went to Cartoon Network. I don't remember what shows I had seen. I'd only seen little bits and pieces of some shows. I tried giving Ed, Edd N Eddy a try, and I'm sorry, Mark, it just did not gel with me.
It wasn't your cup of tea?
No.
Too wacky for you?
I don't know what it was. It was... Well, now as an adult, I don't like it because it's about these three kids who are trying to scam off
the
of
neighborhood
their friends
and get jawbreakers. Yeah, but not everyone was their friend because they kind of knew they were on to what was going on with their scams. But like some kids fell for it, like Johnny, Rolf.
I feel like with Johnny, he didn't have a choice but to follow through.
Yeah, he was like the easily fooled.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Death battle. Plank versus Stump from the Angry Beavers.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Death battle, take the bait.
Oh my God, yes.
At least for an April Fool's joke. Come on.
Oh my God, that would be perfect. What if they find out that they're brothers or Stump was Plank's dad? Oh wait, there actually was an episode where Johnny introduced Plank's parents to the Eds. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Spoilers, they break in half.
Aw.
Anyways, so our favorite shows. Let's see. Obviously my favorite show was Ed, Edd N Eddy because we were talking about that. I liked Flapjack, Chowder, Adventure Time, Regular Show, Samurai Jack, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Steven Universe, Kurt's Cowardly Dog, Teen Titans, Justice League, and Amazing World of Gumball. What were some of your favorites, Nathaniel?
Well, since we're just listing off shows, one of my... I did not have very much definite favorites, but there were shows that I did like watching. I liked watching Dexter's Laboratory for a bit because... kid who has his own private laboratory and has to keep it a secret from his parents sounds kind of fun. Sounds like something like a kid would come up with when he's playing with his own little toys or using his own imagination.
At first, I thought Dexter was an evil genius. Like before I saw the show,
that's what I got the impression too. I thought he was supposed to be like this mad scientist, and he is a mad scientist.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to rule the world. He's just doing stuff for the sake of science.
Yeah, he was Jimmy Neutron before Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah.
Yeah, only with a better equipped laboratory.
Yes.
And he has to deal with an older ditzy sister.
Yeah.
But the show is actually pretty clever in and of itself. I can't point to specific ones because I haven't seen Dexter's Lab in a very long time. But I do know that the voice of Dexter was the original voice of Chucky from the Rugrats.
Yes, and Oblina from Our Real Monsters, Goslin from Darkwing Duck, and Babe. The pig, Babe. The original voice.
Oh, the pig?
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't she also the voice of that cyborg rabbit from the Sonic the Hedgehog animated series?
Which one? The good one or the bad one?
The good one.
I haven't watched Sad AM. I know if Shadow Spider was here, he would definitely talk about that.
Yeah. We'll probably bring it up again when he arrives.
Hopefully.
But other than Dexter's Laboratory, I did give Powerpuff Girls a chance because I remember seeing advertisements for it again on Nickelodeon, and I'm like, the hell is this crap?
Yeah.
I gave it a chance, and yes, it was funny. It is hilarious. It was funny. It is hilarious, and of course, it is cute. But I ended up watching the entire series later on in my adult years. and I have to say it's a pretty solid series.
Yeah. Like, I kind of I mean, I did see a preview where like they're like fighting, but like I saw other previews where like they made it look too kind of cutesy, but then I gave it a chance. I'm like, wow, this show's actually pretty funny and kind of cool because it gets violent.
Oh man, does it get violent?
Yeah, I mean, like in the intro, Buttercup knocks out Him's tooth, and you see blood come out of the hole where his tooth was missing.
Little streams of blood.
But still, damn.
Yeah, but still. Highlight episodes of the Powerpuff Girls would be let's see which ones would be like highlighted, like recommendation you see. Like, which one would you recommend in terms of humor?
Oh, speaking of that, like the next thing I have on the docket is memories, favorite episodes, or characters. My favorite episode of Powerpuff Girls was when Fuzzy Lumpkins becomes the new mayor of Townsville, and he has Miss Bellum as the secretary still, but she's dressed up as Daisy Duke.
Oof.
Yeah, but the best part about that episode was the end, where like instead of having a Democratic election, he has a wrestling match against the old mayor. That's something I would do if I was in political power, everybody.
I really can't come up with something on the fly of humorous episode, but I do know one of the more violent ones, and that's when Professor Utonium was putting up this like holodeck area for the girls to train, and he purposely set the difficulty setting to the lowest for Bubbles. And Bubbles gets upset because she wants to be able to push herself just like her sisters. And so to prove that she is as hardcore as her sisters, after they've been teasing her for a little while, she cranks the setting up to 11. Which is extreme because there's not even an 11 setting on there. And she gets her butt kicked in the holodeck, but she was too filled with anger to really give up. And she gets the most violent you'll ever see in that one.
Yeah.
And she holds on to that towards the end of the episode, where even her sisters are like, "You're going too far."
Anyways, my favorite.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of other shows that I actually enjoyed watching on Cartoon Network. As a kid, my go-to show on that channel was definitely The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah, I mean, like I haven't seen much of that
for
show,
Nickelodeon.
I've seen a good handful of episodes.
In terms of dark humor for Nickelodeon, I went to Nickelodeon for Invader Zim for dark humor. For Cartoon Network, I went straight for Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
But if you had to ask me, Invader Zim's the darker of the two.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially that Oregon Harvest episode.
But like with The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, it hit differently. I did not know what exactly drew me to it. Maybe it was the main three characters, Billy, Mandy, and the Grim Reaper. I mean, they had such a good dynamic. Mandy is the cynic.
Billy's the dumb one,
and Grim is like the straight man between the two. I don't know. I don't remember how exactly those two kids managed to trick the Grim Reaper into being their best friend forever. But it did open the door to a lot of weird, wacky, and paranormal stuff. Like I can name a couple of episodes that I legitimately enjoyed. Like I remember one where the Boy Scouts, or was it the Girl Scouts?
I can't remember.
It was some sort of scouts where they were struggling trying to sell cookies. So instead, I think it was either Billy Yeah, I think it was Billy. Billy stole the recipe to Grimm's grandmother's recipe for
Oh
cookies.
yeah, I remember that.
And they ended up selling like
hotcakes.
Like hotcakes. It was
And
it became like a nationwide phenomenon, and they even had Mama Grimm come up on a
and say
daytime
what
show
the ingredient
and
was,
tell what the main ingredient, what the secret ingredients was.
It was like worms, flies,
dung beetles, and cockroaches and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you see the audience looking
like,
at
"What?"
looking at the cookies they're eating and seeing like the legs popping out.
And they still eat it.
And at first you think that
they're gonna vomit and all
was
that.
Gonna end with them vomiting up, and then the thing would crumble. But no, they end up eating the cookies anyway.
Yep.
And the host even said, "Boy, these are damn good cookies." Another episode would be the Halloween episode with the Jack-o'-lantern, voiced by Wayne Knight?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Because that was a fun Halloween episode. Because you see Wayne Knight portray this trickster character who treated Halloween as a routine at first, until Billy lends him the Grim Reaper's freaking scythe.
Damn it, Billy.
And so now Billy and Mandy has to save Grim from Jack-o'-lantern before he cuts off Grimm's head using his own scythe. And you would think that him being the Grim Reaper, his head comes off all the time. But if your head severed by the Grim Reaper's scythe, it stays severed permanently.
My favorite episode of Billy and Mandy has to be Keeper of the Reaper.
Okay, Keeper of the Reaper, remind me.
That's the one where Billy and Mandy are trying to fight custody over Grimm, and it's in the fate of the hands of Fred Burger, who's on jury duty.
Who could forget Fred Burger?
Yeah, he's voiced by the creator of Chowder, apparently. C.H. Greenblatt.
Yes.
And anyways, that's
and of course, later in my adult years, because I knew that they were producing one final season of it, I ended up jumping into Samurai Jack and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
What was it about Samurai Jack that made you fall in love with the series?
Well, I didn't really watch it when it first came out. I did see reruns of it on Toonami, and I regretted not watching it when I was younger. I mean, the art style is phenomenal. The voice acting is top-notch. The action is just great.
The voice acting, when you hear it, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because we got to bring that up. One of the main draws in a show like Samurai Jack, and it's something that you don't expect to say, something you would praise in a cartoon, is the lack of dialogue.
Yeah.
In the show. Like, it's a show that does not rely heavily on dialogue and relies on the characters in this world interacting with the world and with each other, and you can tell what it is they are thinking by their actions and facial expressions, as well as storytelling hints from the environment itself. Because you have this samurai warrior who is displaced in time into the far-flung future, ruled by this evil magical being that he was trained to defeat back in his time period. So you were now stuck on a futuristic Earth ruled over by this demon monster, and he has to deal with aliens, robots, and all manner of weird monstrosities that are sent by this entity to hunt him down and kill him before he could, so that way he doesn't find a way back to the past and defeat the evil.
Yeah, because that's another favorite episode of mine is from Samurai Jack, and it has to be the finale. But the finale,
we won't cover the finale.
I mean, let's just say that
you'll either like it or you'll be disappointed.
There's victory, but at a great cost.
Yes.
All right. Let's see.
What was one of your favorite Samurai Jack episodes?
I mean, like I said, I haven't watched most of it. But I did like the Scotsman character played by John DiMaggio.
Oh man, Oh man, the Scotsman episode is right up there with one of those mandatory watch. Is if it's it's up there with like top 10.
Yeah.
It's like you have to see. It's like aside from the 3-part pilot, you have to see the episode where Jack meets the Scotsman.
Yeah.
Because he is such a fun, bombastic, and wild character.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, he's got a machine gun
For a leg. Yeah.
He's got a machine gun for a leg before terra firma made it a thing.
Let's see.
And also but I think my favorite episode is the one where 4 or 5 different bounty hunters work together to try and take out Samurai Jack. And all throughout the episode, it's focused solely on these bounty hunters, and they talk about the different methods that each of them would use to take out the samurai. All of which were negated by one bounty hunter in particular, who keeps pointing out the flaws in their plan. And she ends up coming up with a plan of her own that requires all of their talents for them to work out, for this plan to be executed and work out well. And so you have the episode of them, the episode focusing on them, trying to take out this legendary warrior. And we have like them talking about the plans, talking about the setup for their final plan. But by the time the execution comes, they frame it as if it was almost like in a blink of an eye, and they all get destroyed. Yeah. And you see the feeling of the last bounty hunter standing. In her heart, she wants to continue to fight. She wants to fight the samurai, but she knows deep down she can't win, and she ends up falling to her knees and surrenders, and Jack just continues his journey. He doesn't even look behind him.
Yeah.
And that was heavy.
Yeah. I mean, in the later seasons, I thought Ashi was a pretty good character.
You mean the final season?
Yeah. Did I say the final season?
Or you said later seasons.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Implying that there was more.
Yeah.
There. But yeah.
Speaking of Ashi, there's a little happy ending that you can only get in the game.
I have not played the game. Don't talk about it.
Neither have I.
Don't talk about it.
I'm not. I still got to download that game. But
man, I wish there was a physical copy of that thing.
I know, but in order to get said ending, you have to complete the game 100%, like get all the collectibles and all that.
Oh, joy.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Uh-huh. Let's see. So, memories, favorite episodes, or characters. So, my favorite characters are Ed from Ed, Edd N Eddy, Muscle Man from Regular Show, and Carl from Wacko Teen Hunger Force. That's an Adult Swim show, but we'll get to Adult Swim later.
Okay, now when you say Ed, do you mean Ed or do you mean Ed?
I mean Ed. I even met his voice actor at an expo in Los Angeles.
Sounds awesome.
It totally was. Oh, man.
Didn't you say that when they were casting for the 3 main characters of that show, that the studio was surprised that each voice actor personified the characters in real life? Like they didn't even have to try?
I don't think I said that.
Who said that then?
It's probably Anthony.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Huh.
But still, yeah, they do like nail their characters on the head. Oh, don't worry. All right. Let's see. And although I haven't watched every episode of Dexter's Lab or Powerpuff Girls, I already said my favorite episode about Fuzzy being the mayor. Let's see. My favorite segments from Dexter's Lab were the Justice Friends episode. Yeah, the parody of the
Captain
Avengers.
America.
Yeah, but the name is a parody of the Justice League. So you had Major Glory, who's a parody of Captain America, Valhalla, who's Thor, and the Infragable Crunk, who's the Incredible Hulk.
Wasn't Valhalla supposed to be like this rock star version of Thor?
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
And
where did they come up with that?
I don't know, but Crunk was voiced by Frank Welker.
Yep. Gotta love our veteran actors.
Yep.
One of the voices I hear a lot especially in Cartoon Network shows, is Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah.
He's in a lot, whether he's a background character or a main character.
Yeah.
He does, and he has a wide variety of voices too.
Surprisingly.
Like what's a good example of his acting talent?
Let's see.
Take
Shredder.
Take Shredder from the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja
From
Turtles
Nickelodeon.
Show from Nickelodeon,
Mm-hmm.
and you hear this deep, powerful, commanding presence,
Mm-hmm.
and then go to Samurai Jack, where he plays one of the villains of the week, Dimongo, and he has this high-pitched screeching
I didn't know
laugh.
that was his voice.
And he has this high-pitched screeching laugh, and he... How would you describe Dimongo's speech pattern?
I don't know, but I do know that Kevin Michael Richardson was also the voice of the Joker from The Batman.
Oh, yes, The Batman. That's actually a pretty decent show.
Yeah.
I'm actually rewatching it right now.
I haven't watched all the episodes, but yeah, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's no animated series, but hey.
It's not Batman, the animated series, but for what it is great.
Yeah.
It is surprisingly great. The designs of the characters take a heck of a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it took some getting used to Joker's design in that
Yeah.
one.
I do know that.
But then again, when I look at
I didn't like Bane's design. He looked like a Ben 10 character.
exactly, that's what I was getting at. I did not like Bane's design. I especially did not like Riddler's design.
Yeah, he looked kind of like Johnny Depp.
No, Riddler looked like a Hot Topic employee on St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, it's better than the Batman design we got from the Pattinson movie, where he looks like a gimp.
I was gonna say he looked like a bargain bin Hush in that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Joker's design, it took a while for me to get used to, and then I later rationalized that, oh well, if you look at Joker's design, especially his hair, it almost looks like a jester's hat.
Yeah.
If you add like little bells at the end, it would resemble a
And
jester
his
that's
movements
on the Joker.
That character's movements of the Joker, he moved kind of like a monkey, like a chimpanzee.
Yeah, and that helped a lot portraying his more chaotic nature. Mm-hmm. So I think that fit very well with his design.
Mm-hmm.
For his design, but there were other designs that completely nailed what these characters were supposed to look like Penguin's design, like Catwoman especially. Harley, she didn't come into it until way later in the series, but yeah, they remained true to Harley's design in that one, and some designs that were pretty cool, and I might say even improvement. Pretty cool being Mr. Freeze, and an improvement being Firefly. Firefly's design was an amazing improvement.
So anyways, you know when I said that they had like movies on Cartoon Network, it wasn't just animated movies, but also some live action. Like I think I remember them showing Tim Burton's Batman, and I know they even showed Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Wait, they showed Tim Burton's Batman?
On Cartoon Network? Yeah, I think it was on Toonami.
Okay, Toonami I can understand, but God.
Yeah.
Especially given what we know what's in that movie.
I know, because and some of the other stuff that they showed, like movie-wise, they showed Iron Giant a few times before.
I think they like made it like an annual thing where they show like the Iron Giant as a marathon.
Yeah.
If you missed it, don't worry. Look at your TV guide. You can catch it again at that time.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, speaking of superheroes, one of my favorite episodes of Dexter's Lab was when he used gamma rays in order to eat more veggies, but he turns into a Hulk monster. Oh
dear.
Yeah.
That's an example of a funny episode, vegetable related, for Powerpuff Girls,
where
these aliens invade Earth and were taking over the minds of the adults because they were eating the vegetables that they were infecting.
Is that the broccoli one?
Yeah. It was that. And it was up to the kids to save the Earth, by eating
Their
their
veggies,
veggies.
yeah.
They were not only eating the veggies that, because did the mind control virus affect the kids or no?
It's been a long time since I've seen that episode.
I don't remember, but I do know that they ended up having to eat the vegetables in order to fight back against the
the aliens.
and they ended up eating the aliens because they were made of vegetables too. And at the end, when they were at the supermarket, all the kids were eating the vegetables because they did not want to take that risk.
Let's see. So I mentioned the Justice Friends. I mentioned, another episode of Dexter's Lab, the band episode, Rude Removal. Oh, here he comes, our guest.
Here comes a new challenger.
We started without you, unfortunately.
Oh, good.
Okay. Well, you can take a seat right there.
You got the right seat. The mic's right there.
Oh, good. I didn't want to be a part of this anyway.
Oh. Well, we were just discussing about like our exposure to Cartoon Network, favorite shows,
Did
memories.
you guys go into the
episodes,
legal stuff
characters.
that's just gone on recently?
Oh, no, that's going to be at the end.
No, that's going to be at the end.
See, I think you guys should have started with that to give. Well, because it's a timely thing. I mean, let's get into it right now.
Okay.
All right.
You brought it up. You bring it.
Okay.
All right. I mean, well, it's a little bit complicated, but the basic short thing is Cartoon Network is dead. Like, Cartoon Network as a studio is dead.
Because they merged with Warner Brothers Animation, right?
Yeah, basically, here's what happened. Okay, Warner Brothers obviously going through a bunch of cuts, a bunch of downsizing.
Because Zaslav is basically Thanos.
If by Thanos you mean trying to actually balance Warner's budget, then yeah. Because they're $3 billion in debt. So he's got to cut every little thing that he can.
And
so
unfortunately, Cartoon Network is...
Well, no, animation in general is
is
expensive as heck.
Yeah, okay.
Like a typical animation episode costs like, on a low budget, still costs like $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's on a low budget. But to get back on topic, so Warner is cutting everything they can. They finally got to the animation division, the TV division, and basically they cut, I believe it's 100 jobs between the various TV divisions. And you may think, oh, well, that's not as bad as it sounds. Like, they just cut some jobs. It's like, okay, here's the thing. So basically what happened is they cut jobs, and we don't know who obviously got cut. There's no way to know that. Yeah. Like, obviously, if probably some of them already said on Twitter looking for a new job. So what that basically means is Cartoon Network, at the very least, its staff was cut down to the point that it made more logical sense to merge the remaining Cartoon Network studio staff with Warner Brother Animation staff. So, yeah, not everybody. It isn't like they shut the studio down and fired everybody, but they still cut a bunch of the Cartoon Network studio staff and basically just told the people that were left, okay, we're just going to send you over to Warner Brothers Animation. So it's like Warner will still be producing animation, but Cartoon Network being a separate studio and producing its own stuff, that's done. Oh. That's gone.
So does that mean the channel's dead?
No, they'll keep the brand because the brand name still has value.
I see.
They'll probably, I don't know if they'll keep the channel, considering that, let's face it, cable in general is dying.
Yeah, streaming.
Streaming, the
honestly,
new cable.
Honestly, the best thing to do would probably be, because if they're not going to be producing any new animation, it's like, just merge it with Boomerang already. It's like Boomerang already has...
Oh, Boomerang is entirely separate?
It's an entirely separate channel.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Boomerang already is showing shows all the way up to, like, the... from what somebody told me, they're already showing, like, the cartoons all the way up to Cartoon Network stuff from the late 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's like
wow.
already on Boomerang they've got stuff like what Powerpuff Girls, what are some of the later like Laszlo, like
Chowder, Flapjack.
yeah, Flapjack. That's like late 2000s, all the way into.
What about
2010s.
Adventure Time and Regular Show?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, just move whatever shows are left that are on Cartoon Network. Just move those to Boomerang.
Yeah.
Except Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. We don't talk about that.
Well,
we will later.
That is something to discuss, but it's like, yeah, you're not going to see anything come out from Cartoon Network Studios anymore. There will be no new Cartoon Network shows. There'll be new animation, there'll be new cartoons, just not from Cartoon Network Studios itself.
What does this mean for Toonami and Adult Swim?
I mean, they'll probably keep the shows that are still, like, producing content and making money.
Yeah, I mean, well, to me, I feel like Toonami is obsolete at this point because people are just watching anime on
Toonami never aired anything that was original to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, when they started out, they did, but Toonami just airs stuff that they have licensing rights to.
What a shame that Toonami did not become an anime streaming service.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have.
It should have. And I bet,
well, Warner,
I'm willing to bet if they had gotten on it early enough, they would have beaten out and bought out Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Well, Warner owns Crunchyroll now.
Oh, I did not know that. What do they own?
Warner because there was a merger where
Kill Crunchyroll, rebranded as Toonami.
Yeah.
When Warner got Discovery.
Oh my god, my cousin is gonna hate me for saying that.
Well, because it's like, what are the two big? Because there's two big animation studios, and everybody thought that Warner was going to keep one of them, and they thought they were going to keep Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll was the bigger name. But they have decided to shut down Crunchyroll, like that was months ago. Shut down Crunchyroll and merge it with some other anime streaming service. I'll look it up.
So, Brian, did it? Oh, sorry, Shadow Spider.
It might have been Funimation.
Oh, yeah, it made sense.
Yeah, Crunchyroll will no longer be available August 29th, so it's already dead.
Ouch. Ouch. So, Mark, where were we on the docket? So,
okay, so before he got here, we did the intro.
Oh, okay. I was wrong. Sony Pictures Entertainment officially acquired Crunchyroll from AT&T.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
AT&T
Warner owns AT&T, right?
Warner, no, AT&T owned Warner.
Oh, yeah.
AT&T is a much bigger.
Yeah.
But the reason that they sold them to Discovery is because, well, what's going on now? Warner was basically bleeding money like a sieve. But the thing is, they could afford to do that because they could just go to Papa AT&T and say, please, we need more money, sir.
We got to have money.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with a lot of these studios. A lot of these studios are owned by bigger corporations that can just keep funneling money into them. But now Warner is owned by a much smaller company than AT&T.
Yeah.
So they inherited the debt. They inherited $3 billion worth of debt, which is what Warner was in, but they could afford it when they were part of AT&T. They can't afford it now that they're part of Discovery.
So stuff you missed was like our exposure, like how we got into Cartoon Network, favorite shows, and right now we are still on memories, favorite episodes, or favorite characters.
All right.
So,
Well,
would you like to go through your exposure?
So, I mean, my exposure is I was there from the beginning.
Ooh.
Like, I was there because the network's only 30 years old.
Yeah.
That's a good contrast because me and him, we
we
only got
didn't get to
exposed
the like
through the
middle school.
commercials.
Yeah.
No, I got exposed back when the network first started.
Like
back,
with the Hanna-Barbera stuff?
Yeah, back when it was basically just airing Hanna-Barbera reruns.
Oh, like Tom and Jerry, Flintstones.
Oh, no, you know what?
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what? My cousin, one of my cousins had that channel at his house when I was a kid, and I didn't have any interest in watching that stuff. So
Yeah, when they first started, all they had
was reruns of like Flintstones, Jetsons.
Flintstones, Jetsons, Tom and Jerry,
Scooby-Doo.
Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo. That's mostly what they ran in the very beginning. And then as they went on, they started obviously producing
like
original content.
Dexter's Lab, Ed Edd N Eddy, Powerpuff Girls.
don't forget Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo. Yeah, that was one of their earliest things. That was also Genndy
Tartakovsky.
Tartakovsky. I'm sorry.
He did Johnny Bravo? I thought he did Dexter's Lab, Samurai Jack, and
No,
Primal.
he did Johnny Bravo.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know there was an episode where I think they collabed with Butch Hartman and Seth MacFarlane to have Adam West as a guest character on that show.
I think so. I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
I do know one thing. As much beloved as Johnny Bravo is, it is not a show that will ever be made again.
Nope.
Speaking of Seth MacFarlane, he actually did a pilot episode on Cartoon Network, which was like a precursor to Family Guy.
I'm sorry. You know what? Seth MacFarlane, also, that was one of his first works.
Johnny Bravo?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but like I said, he did a...
Honestly, I can see that.
Yeah.
Given Johnny Bravo's content.
I don't know how much he worked on, but I know he did a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that stood out for me from Johnny Bravo, from what I have seen, I think I've only seen the episode where he crossed over with Scooby-Doo.
I remember that episode.
That wasn't. I don't think that was a full episode. That was just a kind of a short.
I think it was like one of the episodes, like the half episodes, like how they have like 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah,
it was one of. It was one of those.
I still love the line, "My glasses, my glasses. I can't see without my glasses.
My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses.
I can't be seen without my glasses.
My glasses. I can't be seen without my glasses." I love that.
Yeah.
That was great.
So, anyways, do you remember
there,
that Cartoon Network used to show different IPs? Like they had some Marvel stuff, like they had that Fantastic Four cartoon, not the Hanna-Barbera one. I mean, they did, but they also had World's Greatest Heroes.
Kinda, but I mean, I was gonna get into, I hadn't finished going on my history.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So I was there in the beginning. I watched it when they were just airing reruns. I watched it when they started doing original, and then Toonami was not my exposure to anime, but it was what got me really into it because obviously they had one of their biggest hits was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Do you guys both remember the awful way that they would schedule DBZ, where it'd be like it'd get up to like halfway through the Frieza saga, and then it would rotate back to the beginning, and you'd think, wait, did I miss something?
Yeah, I know they did that with the Boo saga as well.
No, I did not watch Dragon
Yeah,
Ball.
he's not a DBZ fan.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have, I guess they didn't have the rest of the episodes.
Yeah.
And it would just get up to a certain point, and then they'd go straight back to the first episode.
Yep.
Oops.
Well, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's see. So you already mentioned your...
That was before filler was really a thing.
Yeah, so you mentioned your exposure, but I was going to say, you remember like how they had like other stuff like He-Man, Transformers, Star Wars, Clone Wars, and they also had Marvel stuff like Superhero
I never
Squad.
watched the Clone Wars saga.
Oh, yeah,
one
neither
thing I
did
will say that I really liked, in the early days, they went all out. Do you guys remember the really cool, like, they all live in this same world scene transitions?
The bumpers.
Yeah.
I miss bumpers so much. I miss them so much because it didn't matter what channel you were watching. A lot of the kids shows had bumper segments where it didn't matter if you were watching Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, Fox Kids, WB. They all had this little like integrated little world, and it helped. And it kind of helped sell the brand a bit.
And I think Cartoon Networks was the best because they went the extra mile in terms of putting all these characters, regardless, most of them being 2D, in this 3D environment to make it seem like they were all in this joined world.
My favorite bit on the bumpers was with Ed Edd N Eddy, where Eddie says, "Ed, do you have a quarter?" He's like, "I do not have a quarter, Eddie. I'm sorry. Do you have a quarter, Eddie?"
One of my favorite bumpers I have 2. One is where Samurai Jack and Johnny Bravo are in the laundromat.
I like the one.
And they were complimenting, and they were like, it's awkward. Because Samurai Jack only has his gi.
Yeah.
And Johnny's in his bathrobe.
Yeah.
So.
There's also another one that's at the laundromat where I think it was Samurai Jack.
That's the one I'm talking about.
No. It was a different one where he was pulling his gi out, and it was pink.
That was the one.
Oh, is that the one?
Oh.
Yeah.
No. I think that was with Dexter. It's like somebody really likes pink, and then Blossom comes in.
It was Samurai Jack.
No, but it was Samurai Jack, and it was somebody else.
It was Samurai Jack and Johnny Bravo.
No, I think the one I'm thinking of was Samurai Jack and Dexter.
Oh.
No, that was it. The one with Dexter, that's the other one I was going to mention. It involved Professor Utonium at the grocery store, and he locked himself out of his car.
And Ed was like, "Are you having car trouble, Professor?"
Yeah, and so you had Ed not being any helpful, just eating the professor's
crackers,
groceries. You have number 1 from Codename Kids Next Door, basically trying to come up with a plan to break in, and Mandy shows up and is like, "Hey, genius. Did you try opening the door?"
Speaking of Mandy,
I think that there were 2 different Samurai Jack ones.
Oh, and Dexter was there making fun of Professor Utonium.
and speaking of Mandy, there was one where she met Raven.
That was Oh, that was epic
Yeah.
because they didn't say anything at all.
Yeah.
They were just riding the subway. And by the time they get to Mandy's stop, she's like, nice talking with you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But those were always really funny because it made it like the characters were all in the same world. I was like, I don't remember Disney or WB really going to that lengths on those
The closest
bumpers.
I've seen Nickelodeon go to that length was during the summertime when they had the Nicktoon
Summer Beach House.
Beach House. Yeah, that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
That's
vaguely
the
remember
closest.
that.
That's the closest I've ever seen them go.
Yeah, I know Kids WB did something similar where like I know that Pinky the Brain was still on and then Pokemon was on and Ash thought that the brain was a Pokemon and it didn't read in its Pokedex. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm not really a fan of Pokemon anymore. I mean, I just remember that.
I love the joke that like Ash is so stupid he fucking thinks girls are Pokemon.
Oh god.
Like he's so oblivious to girls.
Did he really think Misty was a Pokemon or Jessie was a Pokemon?
No, but it's just
Jesse,
it's
I
just-
can see because of that hair.
Oh,
It's
like
just-
Jinx?
No, but it's just a joke because of how insanely oblivious he is to
yeah.
all the girls that like
Well,
him.
that's any Shoto protagonist.
Yeah. Let's see. So, like some other shows I remember watching on Cartoon Network were some of the Transformers shows, but I think their best one on Cartoon Network had to have been Transformers Animated.
Yeah,
I
that
have
was
not-
that was the 2010. That was the one with the I mean spoilers, but it turns out that the little girl is a robot.
Yeah. Sorry, Sumdak, voiced by Tara Strong.
Gee, thanks, guys.
Who on Cartoon Network wasn't voiced by Tara Strong?
Yeah.
Like she was in like half of
Yeah.
those shows.
Uh-huh.
Which I didn't know that. I was going to give animated a try.
I mean, it is good.
Yeah.
I've heard it was good.
But you said that Prime is the best, right?
I love Transformers Prime. It did not air on Cartoon
Is
Network.
that
Yeah,
the 90s one?
No, that's like the more recent one.
Oh, okay.
It came out in
Like the
20,
2010s.
Yeah, it came out in the 2010s, 2012.
It's kind of like the 2012 TMNT.
They still, but hey, they still, even though it's computer animated, they still maintained bulkheads designed from animated.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I mean, in terms of my favorite shows, I probably have two, and it's because they're in wildly different genres.
Okay.
So my two top Cartoon Network shows, in terms of just the art and the storytelling, would probably be Samurai Jack, because they did a lot of experimental stuff on that show that was just gorgeous. And then my other favorite would obviously be
Johnny Test.
Nope.
I'm a woodpecker.
What dart?
With dart.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Ed,
thought
Edd
you,
n Eddy.
oh, I pegged you for a Ben 10 kind of person.
Oh no, I do like Ben 10.
Ah,
It's just Ben 10 actually kind of hits that middle ground, I would say, between the two, where it is a good show with good story, and it does have good humor. But in terms of the two extremes, like Samurai Jack is much better in terms of the story it's doing and all the experimental stuff it's doing, and then Ed, Edd n Eddy is if I just want like straight humor.
Yeah.
uh-huh. So if someone were to get into Ben 10, where would they start and where would you recommend they finish?
I mean, you can start with the original.
Original, yeah.
And then
But
end
if
with
you
Alien
want,
Force.
if you want one with more character development, you can technically start with Alien Force and not miss too much.
So
The only thing you'll really miss by skipping the original is a little bit of the relationships that existed previously, like why Vilgax really hates Ben and some of the callbacks to how Ben and Gwen acted as kids.
okay, I ask because that's a show that's on my list.
Okay.
And I wanted to, because I know there were like multiple shows of Ben 10, and I wanted to know if there is a certain point where I should stop, because if I go further beyond, it's just going to be stupid.
Oh,
and
there is
disappointing.
yeah,
is a
there is
point
that
you should
reboot
stop.
that came out, and let's not talk about that.
No, but I can look up.
Oh,
all the
you
Ben
mean
10s.
after Alien Force?
I'm trying to think.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there a show called Ultimate Alien?
Yeah, Ultimate Alien is good. I can't remember if it's before or after that.
I think it's after Alien Force.
Well, just keep going and I'll look.
All right. So, anyways, you missed what one of my favorite memories or moments, episodes or whatever on Cartoon Network was. It was one of them was a Powerpuff Girls episode, and it's the one where Fuzzy becomes mayor, and he has to wrestle the mayor in order to gain his political power back. And that's something I would do if I was in charge of political power. Speaking of, anyone remember when Grimm? No, not Grimm. Grimm was vice president to Ed. Ed was going to be president of Cartoon Network, and he was running against number one. Yeah, that actually happened.
I vaguely remember that.
can see
I
it.
vaguely remember that.
And they had a song for Ed. Vote for me, the big 18. Vote online so you'll be mine and vote for me.
Okay, so definitely skip the 2016 reboot.
Okay. I had an
Omniverse, I've heard mixed things about, but it ran for a long time.
oh
Omniverse ran for 8 seasons.
dang.
Those seasons must have been kind of short because
Short, like 13 episodes per, or
10 episodes each.
Oh, wow.
oh
Yeah, let's see, Ben 10 has 4 seasons at 13 episodes each. Alien Force, 2 seasons at 13 and 1 at 3. And Ultimate Alien, 20, 13, and 20.
Wow.
And then Ben 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So 80 episodes for Omniverse versus the other highest one is 50.
So I guess.
I mean, technically the highest one with the most episodes is Ben 10 2016. It's got 4 seasons right now at 40 episodes each.
2016?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
nobody likes that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So original Alien Force, and if I want to continue,
No.
Omniverse.
Original, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien. The big turnoff with Omniverse, I didn't get too far into it, is it has a radically different art style.
Okay, so those 3. Original, Alien Force, and Ultimate Alien.
Yeah, Omniverse may be worth it if you can get past the radical shift in art.
Okay.
So, anyways, my other favorite moments, episodes, characters, memories, blah, 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 whatever. Like I said, was the rude removal episode of Dexter's Lab, the band episode, where they separate their anger from their bodies, Dexter and Dee Dee, and like their anger is like just like cursing up a storm, but they bleep it. And then
Oof.
someone did a fan edit where it's uncensored.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obvious why that episode was banned.
Yeah. Even the title card, it shows Dexter mooning the camera and Dee Dee flipping the bird.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Dexter's Lab, all I can say is that his mom is the best cartoon mom. Why? Because she's extra thick!
But Cartoon Network had a habit of that. Like, does anybody remember the mom from
Robot Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen Robot Boy.
Neither
And,
have I.
Even Frankie kind of had some hips going on.
Ooh. I know that
Yep.
Matt's mom did, even though you don't see her face.
Yeah.
What else? Speaking of Dexter's mom, anyone remember the episode where
I remember
Dexter has X-ray goggles, and then like at the end, like we find out that like he's just seen everybody naked.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, and so
I remember the one where it explained how his mom and dad got together. That was actually a pretty sweet episode.
My favorite episode, because of how different it is, of Dexter's Lab, not counting the TV movie, because that was really good.
Oh.
You know, the ego trip?
Oh yeah, where he meets all like the Dexters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like the one where he makes himself older, but he's like an old man.
Oh, that's,
man, I should've
that's
mentioned-
actually the pilot.
really?
Yeah, that's the first episode.
Oh, yeah.
I should have mentioned Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends since you brought up Frankie. That was also a really
Well,
good
we'll
show.
get to it. So, yeah, Dexter had a lot of good, up until I think it was season 4, the final
Where
season.
they changed the animation style?
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just became really bad. I would say the one where he turns into an old man is really fun.
Yeah.
I also like the opera one.
There was an opera one?
I
Yeah, where
remember-
everybody is singing.
You know what? I remember it. I remember when a lot of cartoons
It-
would delve into an opera
musical.
episode.
It was Dexter's origin episode.
Oh,
It
yeah,
had
I
the
remember
mom
that.
giving
Yeah,
birth, and
yeah.
Everybody's
Oh.
singing opera as they're saying the lines.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, anyways, with the X-ray goggle episode, I remember the scene where Dexter is helping out his mom get a light bulb. He's just like walking backwards. And if that were me, I'd be walking the other way forward. Well, yeah, that's it. Just slowly move that light bulb. Yeah,
You gotta remember Dexter's
now
also
bend
10.
over. Oh, she threw that.
Yeah, there is something wrong with that.
There is tons of stuff wrong with that, Mark.
Yeah.
Tons of
Sorry.
I
wrong
do
with
like
that.
some of the innuendo jokes they put in the
Oh, yeah,
movie
where their
series.
mom and
Yeah.
dad are playing Twitster.
Well, there's also the one that people bring up
Yeah,
the most.
Dad's Trophy.
Yeah, Dad's Trophy. One of my favorite ones, though, is in Powerpuff Girls. Hi, this is a professor. He made us in our lab in his lab by accident. It's okay, Professor. I was an accident, too.
That was awful. No,
Mom
my
and Dad
favorite
would-
one is from Ed, Edd N Eddy. Where'd you come from, Ed? Blame my parents, Eddie.
And that's a good one, too, yeah.
What'd he say?
Blame my parents, Eddie.
Yeah, I can do it. Basically, it says, where'd you come from? Blame my parents, Eddie.
Yeah, so I also remember watching like the old cartoons like Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo. And yes, I have seen the WWE crossovers with Scooby-Doo.
I mean, what hasn't Scooby-Doo crossed over?
Yeah,
Like,
true.
And it's not like that's anything new. They've been doing that ever since the
The 60s.
the 60s show where they just started getting random
Where
guest
is my
stars.
Transformers crossover episode with Scooby-Doo with the Mystery Machine transforming into
Yes.
an Autobot?
I
Where
mean,
is it? Where
would it
is
really
it?
be that far out of
I know.
left field?
Oh, guess what? Freaking Nathan said that he wanted a death battle between Stump from Angry Beavers versus Plank from Ed, Edd N Eddy.
I forgot about Angry Beavers.
Yeah.
Was that Nick?
Yeah, that was Nick.
Nickelodeon.
Okay, that was Nick.
Yeah. So, anyways, another favorite memory of mine was the Justice League Unlimited finale where Superman just destroys Darkseid.
Well, Justice League, we should go down the shows in. Let's honestly just go down the shows in order.
That might take up a lot of time.
That would take up a lot of time. I think the
Well, we'll
Timverse
skip
would.
over someone. Over some.
I think the Timverse would be best saved as a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there
we'll
is
skip
a
over
lot to
some.
cover.
We'll skip over some.
Yeah. So I was gonna say
So,
that
let me see.
I haven't watched
Because a lot of them started off on Kids WB.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
watched
And Fox.
I haven't watched a lot of Cow and Chicken though, but I did see some episodes, and I kind of wish I watched more because it would have been up my alley. Because if I liked Rocco and Ren and Stimpy, I would have enjoyed that.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
man. We
I've-
didn't bring up Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, so I've got a list
know.
here. Let's
We'll
just
bring it
go
up.
down the list. Any that we've already kind of discussed, we'll skip. And any that we have no clue about, we'll also just skip.
Okay.
Okay, so first one on my list is Dexter's Lab. We already
Covered.
talked about that.
Yep.
Johnny Bravo.
We
A little
touched
bit.
upon Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting show. I like the premise. I like the fact that one of the most interesting things that people pointed out is like anytime Johnny went out on a date with a girl that he was unsure about, they were actually into him. That's the thing.
Yeah, and he's just kind of clueless.
Yeah, like
Wasn't there a finale? The finale where he actually does get a girlfriend?
I don't remember, but like a good example is there's the werewolf girl or the deer, and it's like any of them where he's just kind of trying to be nice, but obviously just wants to get out of the date. Like they're totally into him. So it's like that's kind of an interesting
It's like
thing that people
it's
notice.
like Pepe Le Pew. Whenever
Yeah.
Penelope Pussycat actually does go after him, he's like,
Yep.
Madame, control yourself. Control yourself.
Yeah, but to be fair, Johnny, at the very least, Johnny never, like, it was a date he wanted to get out of. He never, like, flat out ran. It's just like,
True.
you could
true.
tell he was just, like, didn't know what
He
was
was
going on.
actually trying to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
Others?
Yeah, keep going.
So next on my list is Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah,
And
we
I mean,
kind of
that's
covered that.
Well, yeah, but I think what's interesting, and I think a lot of people don't really realize this, here's why I think Cartoon Network keeps trying to bring that show back, because a lot of people don't really remember this. Powerpuff Girls, when it launched, when it was in its heyday, it was huge.
Yeah, because it got a movie.
No,
No,
people
not because
do
it
not
got
realize
not
how
because
huge
it got a
was.
movie. They did not know how. They did not know that they got lightning in a bottle. When
No,
it came.
not even that. I'm talking about people don't remember, but I remember it because I have a younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
Powerpuff Girls was a merchandising juggernaut. It was on par with TMNT in terms of the amount of merchandise they had for young girls to buy in the early 2000s when it was at its peak.
Yeah.
You had backpacks, you had dolls, you had toys, you had binders, you had all the, stuff that you would get
Yeah,
from school.
yeah.
It had everything. It was easily, looking down this entire list,
So it was kind of like MLP almost.
Yes.
It
was the biggest merchandising juggernaut
That Cartoon Network had.
that Cartoon Network has ever had.
Powerpuff Girls was the rival to Nickelodeon's Rugrats
Yeah,
Yeah,
much.
but even Rugrats
At that
didn't have the
time.
same merchandise.
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
It was bigger though.
Yikes.
Merchandise-wise, it was huge. Let me put it to you this way. You remember the episode with the fan who collects all the merchandise? Larry, I think it was.
Yes.
I don't remember
That was
that.
a commentary of that.
That was no exaggeration in terms of the amount of merchandise that they had.
Yeesh.
They were on everything.
Okay.
And I think that is why Cartoon Network keeps trying to bring that show back, because when it worked, when it was now that's why a lot of people don't really remember it being a merchandise juggernaut, because it was not a merchandising juggernaut for long. Like, it had its time of, like, you know, a couple of years as this big juggernaut. But then I think the reason why it gets swept under the rug is because it lost its merchandise juggernaut-ness to SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yep.
SpongeBob came in and completely eclipsed Powerpuff Girls as a young kid merchandising juggernaut.
I can hear Sephiroth's theme appear as soon as SpongeBob was brought up.
Yeah.
Anyways, what came after Powerpuff Girls?
Well, I just wanted to go in a little bit more. It's like that's why Cartoon Networks keep trying to bring it back,
Yeah.
because it made them so much merchandising money. And then what were your favorite episodes? Mine was actually probably the episode where the Green Gang gets superpowers.
Yeah, that was a good one. I also like the one where Mojo Jojo finds out that he was the one responsible for creating the Powerpuff Girls.
That was a good twist. I
Yeah.
like
That
was a
that
good one.
twist.
Or the one where he beats that robot and he's a hero, but he doesn't want to be a hero.
I also like, just because of how funny it is, because they bring attention to the repetition, the one where Bubbles thinks she's Mojo.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I do not talk like that. That is not the way I talk. I do not reiterate everything I say. I am clear, concise, to the point.
I also
I love that he's just like, oh, shut up.
yeah, I also like the Rowdy Rough Boys episode.
Yeah, there's a backstory behind that.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, so, you know how the Rowdy Rough Boys weren't in that many episodes, especially in the, before the art style change?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's because Craig McCracken did not like them.
Oh.
It's well known that Craig McCracken did not like the Rowdy Rough Boys and did not want to use them. So they did not appear more until the art style change, because the art style change happened after he left. Craig McCracken was on, I think, like the first 3 seasons. I'd have to look up how many seasons it was. But after he left is when the art style change happened, and that's why they brought in the Rowdy Rough Boys for more episodes, because he was gone, and he couldn't say, no Rowdy Rough Boys. But he basically, and from this is only a rumor, but from what I understand, the reason he did not like the Rowdy Rough Boys is because of all of the fan art that it spawned.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Well, I mean, basically, he just did not like that suddenly artists were shipping the girls with the Rowdy Rough Boys.
Yeah.
Ah.
And he kind of brought the hammer down on not using them.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yep. Okay, so what came after Powerpuff Girls?
Okay, so this is going to be short because I don't even know if you guys remember this one. Time Squad.
I remember that.
That is incredibly short. The only episode I remember, 2 episodes actually, is the one where, what was the name of the big
Todd
guy?
Russell.
It was the one
Yeah.
where Todd Russell and Amelia Earhart fell in love.
Yeah.
And the
And she's
one,
a germaphobe.
yeah, and the one where Todd Russell gets in touch with his old girlfriend. Those
Oh,
were the
yeah,
only-
yeah, yeah.
I actually liked.
Is it the kid
latter-
voiced by Bobby Hill?
I'm not sure.
I think
I'd
he
have to look
is.
the voice
I
up
actually
here.
liked the latter one.
The
'cause-
robot's voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I actually liked the latter one because it showed that as adults, even if you did have a romantic, even if you were romantically involved, adults can still be friends after that ship had sailed, and that's a good message to teach kids, especially when
Yeah, because it's like they obviously didn't really have too many hard feelings between each other. It's just
Yeah.
something they didn't like to bring up.
yeah.
I mean, it was an interesting premise, basically going to different times where it's like the historical figures are completely different than they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, I think they had not Mark Twain, Albert Einstein as like this car salesman. Like, he had like a Texas accent.
My favorite one was the Beethoven one, where he's a freaking wrestler.
Nice.
Okay, I gotta give Time Squad a look.
Speaking of wrestlers, anyone remember the Wrestler episode of Dexter where they got Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah.
Nice.
Basically what happens in the Beethoven episode, because the idea is something happens that diverts their history. So what happened in the Beethoven episode is his history was diverted because he kept getting hecklers during his piano recitals, and at one point he just kind of snaps and attacks one of the hecklers and fucking wrestles them to the ground.
Nice.
But it's like the audience freaking love it.
Nice.
So after that, he just starts being a wrestler where he's wrestling other musicians.
I gotta see that episode now.
Okay. So that was Time Squad.
And my other favorite one of Time Squad is the Edgar Allan Poe one. Because basically they go to Edgar Allan Poe, and the idea, what happens in that episode is he's sick of being so down and morose, and so like he is now ultra happy and joyful. Like he is Ned Flanders dialed to 11.
God.
Like he is all sunshine and rainbows and just like everything's happy and bright and sparkly. And they try showing him things to like
Get him like to be down.
Yeah, down
But
and low and
he's always
depressed.
looking on the bright side of what
Yeah,
they're
like,
showing him.
Yeah, like even when they take him to like a graveyard to show him like a bunch of, the graves of people who just died senselessly. He fucking starts decorating the graveyard like a party. Basically, he's basically Pinkie Pie.
Oh, nice.
And the ending is great because the way that they get him back is like they actually give up. They're like, nothing gets this guy down. And so he brings him back to the house, and he gives them some cake. And they're eating. He's like, yeah, oh, don't you love my cake? And they're like, it's a little dry. And they just snaps and goes and spirals into depression because they insulted his cake.
Anyways, I mentioned Justice League earlier. I was going to say that most of these heroes I did not know until I actually saw Justice League. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone...
wasn't Justice League mostly on WB, though?
No, it was actually on Cartoon Network.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, like, I didn't know who Martian Manhunter was until I saw...
Oh, okay. It's only showing me Cartoon Network Studios. It's not showing me...
All right. So, anyways, I was going to say some of my favorite moments were with Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like, whenever they would show stock footage, I always had fanboy moments because they always showed King Ghidorah from the Godzilla movies.
Courage was weird.
Not as weird as Flapjack.
I never watched Flapjack.
Brian, I don't know if the show ever explained it, but did it ever explain why Miriam married Eustace and why she liked him?
I remember.
Because, let's be honest, Eustace is an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they do explore that there's a reason he's an asshole. Because it's like...
I vaguely remember that.
Was it that the one where he was a kid?
There were a couple of hints as to why he's an asshole.
Oh, really? I don't think I've seen those episodes.
Basically, his brother looked down on him and treated him like, oh, you're so cute, now get away from me. His dad was a big game hunter, and his brother followed in his dad's footsteps, so they were like macho man. And then his mother basically very
Pampered
obviously... like the older brother more than him, and like literally when you see the mother in that episode, she keeps calling him stupid boy.
Yeah,
the entire episode.
I mean, she likes Courage though.
Yeah,
but there were times where she kind of got impatient with Courage and called him stupid dog, but she hates her son more.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, going back to Flapjack, it was basically SpongeBob, Mitchell Friend, and Stimpy, and had lots of nightmare fuel, especially when they added that blood curdling scream when they had the ugly close-up shots.
Aye.
Yeah. Okay, so what about worst episodes or shows or most hated character? For me, I'm going to say the Bendy episode from Foster's, which Lauren Faust apologized for.
Oh, yeah.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was also a very creative one. I mean...
Well, honestly, I just didn't like Blue in general.
Yeah, Blue was kind of a dick.
Not even counting Bendy. Blue was just an asshole.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because the premiere episodes, you were... right there with Mac and Blue. You were like, okay, these are our heroes. This is going to be an interesting show. Then the rest of the season happens, and you're like, God damn, Blue, you're a menace.
Yeah. I love the episode where he makes a joke about that big guy, but he turns out to be a prop comic. Like, he thought he was going to die from that giant monster.
I mean, it is an interesting idea where it's like the main character is an asshole, and everybody else are the nice guys.
Aye.
Because everybody else was, really nice and good.
Yeah,
like
Eduardo, Wilt.
I know, but
Coco.
I know, but it was almost like a bit of false advertising because with the premiere, it did not set Blue up
as a menace.
this kind of menace.
Yeah.
Well,
Mischievous, yes, but not a menace.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the series, you're like, God damn it, Blue, stop causing all of the problems.
Well, it's like you expected Duchess to be the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, exactly.
she was really only an antagonist in a handful of episodes.
Or Matt's brother.
She was either an antagonist.
Only in like 2, honestly.
She was only an antagonist in a couple of episodes, and for the rest, she's just a complete and utter nuisance.
Who imagined Duchess anyway?
Probably somebody who was into abstract art. Well, that's probably why she's so high class.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some kid who was really into abstract art and thought everything he made was perfect.
Yeah, like a
Might have been
hoity-toity
Squidward.
bougie. Yeah, Squidward.
Might have been-
Well,
Duchess may have been Squidward's imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the most interesting, in terms of like interesting things to come out of him, in terms of repercussions for the fan base. Yeah, we're going there.
No, let's not.
The stuff with Frankie?
Yeah, the cookie episode.
Okay. Oy.
Where Frankie would do anything for cookies?
Anything.
God damn it! I knew it. God.
Anyone got some cookies on them?
Well, I mean, it's like
No, not just cookies. It has to specifically
Chocolate chip?
be not chocolate chip.
It's
It
gotta
has
be Grandma's
specifically
Foster's
be
cookies.
Grandma Foster's cookies.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's funny because it's like obviously the episode was just meant to be for laughs, but it's like that's an episode that kind of just had repercussions in terms of like fan stuff.
Okay.
So it's just always kind of funny.
What is it with kids and redheads, do you think?
I don't know.
Because for some kids, their awakening was Ariel. For others, it was Jessica Rabbit. For some people in the 2000s, it was Frankie.
What about
Probably because
April?
part of it's probably because they stand out so much.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
And to be fair, Frankie's an awesome character.
Yeah. She's voiced by Grey DeLisle Griffin, same voice of Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents, but they're completely opposite characters.
I mean, let's face it, who isn't voiced by Great Delight?
Yeah. And most of the characters she does are redheads. Let's see. Frankie, Vicky, Daphne. That's
Like-
3 right there.
Well, like between Gray,
And Tara?
and
Laura Bailey?
no, not Laura
Tara.
Bailey.
Tara
No,
Strong.
no, I named
You already
her.
said that.
Between Gray, Tara, and
Tell me the
I'm
character.
blanking on the name. Cree Summers.
Oh, yeah.
Cree Summer.
Between Cree Summers, Gray Delisle, and Tara Strong, like that's half of the female cast
Pretty
of Cartoon
much.
Network shows.
Yeah. Okay. Another episode I hated was...
The other half is Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah.
I said female.
Yeah.
That's why I said the other half.
Yeah. Anyways, another episode that I hate was a regular show episode where Mordecai and Ribby try to get their burgers that only come out once every millennium, but crazy shit happens as usual, and at the end of the episode, Benson ate both burgers. I mean, I used to feel bad for Benson because you can understand where his anger problems came from, but that was just a dick move. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with regular show.
Neither am I, honestly. I mean, he loves it.
Yeah.
I'm...
What else? I never really watched the later episodes of Ed, Edd N Eddy, like where they go back to school. But my least favorite episode is when when Eddie decided to put Double D and Jimmy into a fight and taunted Jimmy throughout the whole match. And when Jimmy went ape shit, he beats up Double D when it should have been Eddie who got his ass kicked.
No, the worst episode is easily the one where Double D cannot find the shower.
Oh yeah.
That episode is basically gross. Borders on gross out porn.
Yeah.
That is easily the worst episode.
Does it rival Ren and Stimpy?
No, but it's still a really bad episode, and it's
Okay.
really crap.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
the worst of the series.
And my most hated character is Ronaldo from Steven Universe. I'm not even gonna get into why I hate him because I'll probably get canceled.
Because he's you.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. I knew you were going to say that shit. I am nothing like that soy boy, fat ass, four-eyed, curly-haired motherfucker.
Well, I admit you don't wear glasses and you don't have curly hair.
Fuck you. And why are you laughing? It is not funny.
Oh, I think it's very funny.
No, fuck off. You're lucky I don't kick you out of the studio. I knew you were going to fucking go there.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
Speaking of Steven Universe,
I was gonna say the live action stuff was bullshit, and Problem Solvers was just plain cringe.
Here's the thing. I think the reason they did the live action Ben 10. Well,
No, I meant the
sorry.
live action stuff, like
Well, I think that's why they did it though.
not Ben 10, but like the other shit.
No,
that
but
they
I
had.
think that's
Okay,
why
go
they
ahead.
did the other live action
I
stuff.
think what he's getting at is that Ben 10 is the catalyst for the live action stuff.
Yeah, the live action Ben
Oh.
10 movie was what led them to do the
live
live
action
action
shit?
stuff because the live action Ben 10 movie actually got a lot of views. I think it got like 2 million.
I see. And anyways, Problem Solvers was just plain cringe. Like, I don't even know if you remember that show, but it's the most hated show on Cartoon Network.
I
More
never
than
saw it.
Johnny Test.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why they started going downhill is they kept chasing fads. They would have a hit, and then they would try and chase
But
that.
Problem Solvers was not a live action show. It was animated.
Um,
Don't look it up. You'll get nightmares.
I've seen an image of
Yeah,
Problem
let's-
Solvers, and I do not
Well, anyways-
want to see it anymore.
oh, that.
Yeah, when you were talking about Steven Universe, I was going to say, like, the weirdest episode was the Uncle Grandpa crossover.
Don't worry, this isn't canon, but
Good
this is.
Well, again, I was gonna go into it. We've been talking about the good shows, but basically, let's face it, Cartoon Network has been in decline for a while now.
Yeah.
And I think it started because they started chasing trends. What happened was first they started chasing the live action trend, and I think that was because of how well the Ben 10 live action movie did. And then after that, they ended up having an unexpected hit with Adventure Time, and they were trying to chase that surreal, weird show.
Fun fact about Adventure Time. Nickelodeon passed that
Yeah.
show up. You know what show they picked up instead? Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Well, that tells me though that, well, number one, they might have picked up Fanboy and Chum Chum after they saw what a missed opportunity they missed out on with Adventure Time. So that might have been the reason. But it's like Cartoon Network tried basically replicating Adventure Time's success by greenlighting all of these really weird shows, and none of them really took off. The only one that took off, and I think this was technically before Adventure Time, because I've actually been rewatching clips, and it's good, Gumball.
Yeah.
The Amazing World of Gumball is fantastic.
I still need to catch up on it.
That is a show that is a hodgepodge of animation
Yeah.
of all different
Yup.
kinds.
I think it was made by Cartoon Network Studios in Europe, wasn't it?
Well, that would be Hanna-Barbera Studios.
Oh, okay.
But I gotta, you know what? I gotta catch up on The Amazing World of Gumball too, because it's just a feast for the eyes of any animation lover.
I love the running joke of the characters using the whole fact that they're cartoons to their advantage. Like,
Yes.
I love the joke where they just draw their face on in the morning. That's one of my favorites.
I like how Larry is like the only employee.
Of any store.
How much money does Larry make?
Somebody did the calculations.
Oh,
How much does he
God.
make? How much does he make?
Like, I think it was like a couple, like a couple 100,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think it was like $500,000 a year.
Oh, my
Yikes.
God.
But then
That's
they
a
said the
dedicated
reason.
worker.
Well, then they said the reason that he probably doesn't have any money is because he probably pays for all the damages at the water.
Yep.
Too.
Oh my
Made
gosh.
sense.
So he's just a good Samaritan.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
So we already talked about the main programming. Let's
No,
talk.
we still got plenty of shows.
oh no, we still got plenty of shows. We
Like,
haven't covered
let's-
Steven Universe.
Well, let's wait on that one.
Yeah, let's wait on that one. 'Cause
Let's
I got.
because there's a lot of older stuff we haven't tackled either,
yeah.
like Kids Next Door.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Kids Next
Yeah,
Door.
true. I mean, I never really watched much of it, but yeah, it's a pretty good show.
It was a good show. It's sad that the creator could never get the continuation show off the ground. Like, are you aware of that?
No, I wasn't.
Tell me
Galactic
about it.
Kids Next Door.
Oh yeah, that was like the finale, wasn't it? And that was gonna be a spin-off.
Well, they kind of hinted at it in the finale. He secretly, behind Cartoon Network's back, got together the voice actors and artists to do a rough test and put it online to try and garner support to get Galactic Kids Next Door launched. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but it's like he put his heart and soul into trying to get a continuation series to take off.
So for the kids at home who are not familiar, what is Codename Kids Next Door?
Codename Kids Next Door basically takes the idea of kids' active imagination to the end, how they view parents to the extreme, where you have all these kids around the world who literally fight adult tyranny, and the adult tyranny is basically stuff like making kids eat broccoli or
going to
spanking
bed
kids for
early.
being bad or going to bed early. Yeah.
Or making them participate in extracurricular activities that they don't want to do.
And it started out very silly and creative with just all of these, like, what's something that kids hate? Let's turn it into a supervillain.
Yeah.
And then it eventually evolved to really have its own lore and universe, where it's like they have this base on the moon where they all meet. They have a command structure. They have operatives all around the world. The teenagers have their own command structure. When you age out, you get decommissioned. Like as it evolved, it created this whole extensive lore that people really, really like.
I do like how Father, the Delightful Children Down the Lane's father, is voiced by Maurice LaMarche.
Oh, yes.
Well, in his demonic form.
Well, I like the big reveals that happened in the series finale.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen
No spoilers.
Oh,
No
okay.
spoilers for him.
I'm sorry.
Since he hasn't seen it.
There's a lot of big reveals, mainly with Nigel Uno, that happen.
Yep. Okay. Anything else after Candy?
I mean, yeah. Let me just look up the list.
Because
Like,
I'm looking at that docket and I don't know.
Well, like we didn't really go into Courage all that much.
Yeah.
Okay, Courage. I have not watched a lot of Courage, the Cowardly Dog, but so you two.
It was an interesting
Yeah.
show.
It had a lot of nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Return the slave.
What's your offer? How about the guy that's all, you're not perfect?
I do remember.
I like the Freaky Fred episode.
I do remember one side character, the computer.
Yeah.
How it is like the one source of information in the house, and the computer just
Yeah, I love how
keeps on-
sassy the computer is.
Yeah,
Speaking of Courage, the voice actor of Courage, like in the earlier episodes, he spoke in complete sentences, but in later on, he just made a bunch of noises and barely said anything.
Okay, here's
I wonder why.
Do we want to go into what Courage is kind of a landmark for? I don't know if we.
Like
what was it a landmark for?
fear, depression, mental illness.
No, it was one of probably the earliest, at least with Cartoon Network, but it was technically one of the earliest shows that actually was not as afraid to actually show an on-screen LGBT.
Oh yeah, with the cat and the rabbit.
The cat and the bunny. Like they don't kiss, but it's made very obvious.
Yeah,
that
it's
they are a
implied.
couple. Yeah,
Even I thought of that as a kid.
and that was back in like the 90s.
Yeah, or like early 2000s.
So
That
it's like
would've
they
fly-
were one of the first cartoons to do that.
Yeah.
That would have flied over my head as a kid.
No, they make it very obvious that they're a couple.
Yeah.
Like they don't kiss, but it's very obvious. Like they literally ride off into the sunset
Yeah.
together.
Velma and Louise style?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Except they don't die.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anything else after Courage?
Yeah, there's plenty. So
We already covered Ed, Edd N Eddy.
yeah, well, let's do some of the ones that nobody really remembers, and just our thoughts on why it may have failed or how good.
If nobody
or bad it
really
was.
remembers, I'm probably never going to remember.
Well, here's one: Sheep in the Big City.
Eh.
Anybody remember that?
I remember that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. All right.
yeah, that was probably a
whatever.
bomb.
I love the
Whatever
name.
happened to
because
Robot Jones? He got canceled. Duh.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah. The art style reminded me of Schoolhouse of Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. Well, this one was kind of interesting because it was a spin-off. Remember the Evil Con Carne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hector Con Carne.
Yeah, no. It's
Yeah. Grim and Evil.
Yeah, because it got its own show, but it didn't last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy and Mandy was better.
Yeah. So I mean, a big show that we should talk about, because it is one of their biggest ones. Samurai Jack. Like I said, it's my favorite.
Yeah. We did kind of cover
We
that.
did cover that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I love. Like, it's not got the most deep integrated plot, but it's an amazing show in terms of storytelling from a minimalist viewpoint.
Yes. Yes. Those were the words I was struggling to speak.
and it
I was looking for.
tackles so many different genres and style of storytelling. Like the two most interesting ones from a storytelling and visual style are probably Jack versus the Ninja. Like, please tell me you've seen that scene.
Yes.
The light and the darkness, where it literally
Yes.
becomes black versus white.
Yes, when he was fighting that robot ninja.
Yeah. And I love a comment that somebody left on that video. So, you are shinobi. I know your art well. Start stripping. Well, because the idea is basically he purposes his gi into a white ninja outfit. And, like, it is one of the most masterful ways of doing a sequence in like a mainstream production. Normally that stuff you only see in indie stuff. But have you seen it, right, Mark?
That episode?
Jack versus the Ninja, just that sequence?
When I was a kid, I never really watched that much of Samurai Jack, if not ever. I did watch most of it as an adult, though, especially the final season.
The other really unique one, I think, is the jazz one. The one with the robot.
Oh.
Who's trying to find his dog, Lulu.
What was his name? 11 or something like that?
Like X11.
X11.
Yeah, something like
Anyone
that.
remember the episode where Jack and
for me it was the Bounty Hunters.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I like the jazz one, the X11 one, because it literally plays out like an old-fashioned noir movie.
Yes.
And, like, that is so original.
And remember the Jack episode where him and Aku were fighting, but he said no powers, none of that, but Aku cheated anyways?
Yeah.
How about the one where Jack has to find this guy's daughter at, like, a rave?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was
That was the first one I saw as a kid.
Yeah, that was one of the earliest ones. Right. I mean, we're obviously forgetting the best character from that show.
Aku?
No.
The Scotsman.
Yes!
Yeah, we talked about him.
Go ahead. Tell us about your experience with the Scotsman.
I mean, I like that he becomes like Jack's best friend in this insane world.
Yes.
Like, that's really cool. That he
And I
becomes,
love
like,
that he's voiced by John DiMaggio.
Yeah, he does such a good job with the role. Like, I haven't memorized it, but I love the...
When he's insulting him?
The insult.
He's like, what do you think of that, Mr. Pajama wearing, basket waving, filter weaving? I can't even remember it.
Yes.
Quadri, Paco, Kilo, Primo, Primo.
Have you looked up the translation to each and every one of those insults?
No.
I think someone did a comment on that on YouTube.
Oof.
I also love the scene after they fall off the bridge and they're in the lake and Jack's cut hat goes by and then the bagpipe goes by and Jack just smiles and the skull goes off. Shoot it!
I like, unfortunately, these are spoilers. The Scotsman dies by Aku, but we see his ghost.
Yeah. Celtic magic.
Like,
Well, I love that.
yeah. I like when all his daughters. He's got like a whole legion of daughters.
Well, I love the fact that people have pointed out, it's like, okay, now we know why the wife was so fat.
I like he's all, you dress like you're going out dancing, Dad.
It's like, if I'm Jack, Mark would be the Scotsman.
Definitely. Let's see. Is that it for all the Cartoon Network shows, or is there more?
I mean, there's plenty, but it's like, we can't get to all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, another big one they had that we were talking about, I don't know if you guys went in depth with it, is Ben 10.
We kind of did when you came.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, let's face it, that is one of their longest running series because it lasted for literally 4, technically 5 if you count the reboot, 5 series. And, it's superhero-like, obviously. It's a very interesting premise. And honestly, I remember that show, it wasn't to the degree of Powerpuff Girls, but that one was a pretty big merchandising juggernaut because it's like, you could make so many toys out of the aliens.
Yeah, and the Omniwatch.
And it was very deep as it went. Like, it built, like, a huge amount of lore. And it had a lot of character development, especially in Alien Force. Especially with Kevin.
So, for you and me, we love our shows with good story and a lot of history in these fictional worlds.
I also really like the comedy shows because I can rewatch Ed, Edd N Eddy over and over.
Me too. All right. So are we done with the Cartoon Network stuff? Should we get on to Toonami?
Well, I mean, we also have to technically cover what was, at the end of it was one of their biggest, most recent big shows was Steven Universe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Steven
we
Universe,
also didn't cover Cow and Chicken.
I kind of did.
Okay.
But like I said, I didn't really watch most of it. Steven Universe, I mean, like, well, I don't want to get like too into it because it kind of goes like into a rabbit hole.
It is a very dangerous rabbit hole.
Yeah, and the last thing I watched was the movie. I didn't watch Steven Universe Future.
I didn't either, and I mean the big thing is that like.
It felt first it felt like it was aimed towards kids.
Yeah.
And then later on you're like, "Oh, this is not a kid's show."
Yeah.
Which is fine, but here's the problem. A lot of people like to blame, Cartoon Network was screwing the show over. They wanted it to fail. And it's like, at the end of the day, if you look at the ratings did really start to go down and down. And, it's kind of a, it's hard to tell whether it was because of what Cartoon Network was doing or whether it was just the show was declining in ratings.
I think it was because they did not want to fire their first female lead in a production.
I think it was also because just the show was declining in ratings and Cartoon Network just was not didn't want to give it extra attention if it was already on the decline. I mean, that essentially is what happened with Korra. Korra, they didn't even know if they were going to get a season 2. That's why it wraps up the way it does in season 1. And they had to rush season 2. Oh, wait, that's Nick. But it's like, same difference.
Yeah.
Like, they almost, I know that there was something that happened with season 3 where it was like, it was only online or something like that, where it's like they kind of screwed it over. But it's like, because, well, let's face it, the season 2 ratings kind of declined.
Yeah. Okay. Should we go on to Toonami?
Not to mention the fact that you look at the behind the scenes stuff of Steven Universe and you realize that
and
there
the fan
are
base.
a lot of people who are not nice people were involved in the show.
Well, I mean, the biggest problem, I don't want to bash anyone, but the biggest problem, and this is kind of something we're seeing in a lot of animation right now, is people being put in charge of shows fresh out because at the end of the day, regardless of what you think about Rebecca Sugar or anything going on with the show, she had no experience when it came to actually running a show. Like, she may have had a great idea, she may have had a good show planned out, she may have had all this great stuff, but she did not have experience as a manager, as managing a show, managing a team. And it's like, that's obviously she got better at that on the fly, but that's not how, show running is supposed to be done. You're supposed to kind of cut your teeth on a couple of shows and learn how the production runs, and then you get put in charge.
And she did not learn by cutting her teeth early on.
Yeah, she got put on the show.
She was just thrown into the deep end of the pool. Yeah,
and that's a problem in animation in general going on right now, where they're picking up a lot of young artists who, let's, regardless of the current show quality, they have good ideas that they want to tell, but they're being given the budget and the team with no experience in terms of how to manage this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like these animation studios need better, at the very least, they need a better mentorship program.
Yeah.
For all of these young students, because a lot of them have probably great ideas and can create good shows, but they just do not have the experience of how to manage deadlines, how to, do all this stuff that a manager's got to do. And it's like that stuff you're kind of supposed to learn, at the very least, have somebody to help you with.
Yeah.
All right. How about we go on to Toonami? Because I was gonna say our exposure. So
I didn't watch Toonami.
Oh, really?
No.
So for me, I saw an advertisement on DBZ and I got hooked. After I watched the show, I had my next door neighbor and his friends talk about how cool it was. I thought it would be like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! And be a fad that would come and go, but I was wrong. I always remember coming home.
You didn't know how old it really was.
Yeah, that too. I always remember coming home from middle school to watch it on Toonami. And it was the one anime I got obsessed with. I played all the Budokai games. I tried to get my hands on most of the movies that didn't air at the time.
Oh, yeah. I loved Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, it has reached the point where if you look back at the old episodes, it has not aged well.
Yeah.
Although part of that could just
quite so well.
Well, part of that could just be the dub, because it's
Yeah.
like if you look back at the original dub, they repeat stuff constantly, and the lines are kind of flat.
Yeah. And
Like the one I remember most clearly is when Vegeta finds out Trunks is his son. His inner monologue is, "Trunks? How strange! That's the same name as my son. Wait,
That actually,
a Super Saiyan from the future?
oh my gosh, that actually,
Of course, he's
that-
my son."
that actually sounds like something that Team 4-Star would write up.
they technically did. There's no way he
Well-
could be my son.
Well, no, that's the thing. When you watch the Team 4-Star, in some areas, they improved the script.
Yeah.
But it's like the original script was very repetitious, and part of that could just be dubbing at the time,
Yeah.
and the fact that they had to match the lip flaps.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
That's why we got Kai,
Yeah, that
To
well, that was
improve
whole
the
point of
dialogue.
Kai.
and it had no filler.
Yeah, improve the dialogue, cut the filler.
Yeah. Anyways, with DBZ, it also got me into other anime. Like back in high school, it helped me get into Naruto. And then when
Yeah.
I was in junior college, I got into other anime like Attack on Titan, Gurren Lagann, Black Lagoon, Hellsing Ultimate, Cowboy Bebop.
No, hang on. Naruto was still in its early days when we were at the college, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
No, when I was in high school, I remember watching Naruto because it
Well,
was.
that might have been when it came out, but I remember at the college they were still into the early
I
days
think they
of
were in
that show.
Shippuden.
No,
Really?
because remember, I used to bring to the student center.
Oh yeah, the games.
Yeah, I used to bring the GameCube games, and I would specifically bring Gektoy Ninja Tyson 4, which I had gotten from
Otherwise
Japan.
known as Clash of Ninja.
Yeah, and that was the one that had up to the end of
Zabuza?
No, the end of the first series before Shippuden started, and we played that constantly. And we played that for a good year, and that came out in Japan before the end of the series was aired here. So it's like by the time we were in the college, like they were not done with the original series yet. They were probably at probably before the Sasuke retrieval arc, sometime around there.
That's weird.
No, because I remember we used to play the Clash of Ninja games. We played.
Yeah.
I know we played 1, 2, and I think we skipped straight to 4.
Yeah, because I think 3 was a Japan only thing.
Yeah, 3 and 4 were Japan only. Because I used to kick everybody's ass as Rock Lee.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I got into Attack on Titan, Gurren Lagann, Black Lagoon, Hellsing Ultimate, Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, Space Dandy, Parasite the Matsum, Hunter x Hunter, Kill la Kill, Hero Academia, Michiko and Hachin, Akame Gai Kill, Samurai Champloo, Dead Man Wonderland, and of course, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Did you mention FLCL?
No, I don't think I got into that.
FLCL in Adult
Furikuri?
Swim. FLCL,
That's Furikuri.
yes. When I saw that, it is a show where
It's a trigger animation. What do you expect?
I know, but it's a show where its storytelling requires you to watch it 3 times.
Yeah. I mean, that's
To
Trigger in a
understand.
nutshell.
That's
Trigger in a nutshell.
When I was in high school, I was like, okay, I like this, but why? And then it wasn't until I got older and watched it like 2 or 3 more times, I was like,
was Full Metal on Adult Swim?
Yes,
Yes.
but I never got into that though.
Oh, that's easily my favorite anime.
hey, man, I'm wearing the necklace right now.
Ooh, cool.
I'm about
Anyways,
to watch it home.
I was gonna say,
nice.
Toonami turned a whole generation of American children into weebs.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, let's just dive into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit off topic. Original or Brotherhood?
Original has a couple of great ideas. Like I haven't gotten far in the original yet, but I have heard that they do take the homunculus side of the story.
They take the show in a completely different direction after Lab 5.
And they do actually have a lot of interesting things to do with the homunculi in the original series that Brotherhood didn't have.
I prefer the original, even though it's vastly different from the manga.
I haven't watched Brotherhood.
I will not get into any spoilers. All I will say is my reasons for liking the original better. I like the original because Brotherhood, which is, let's face it, the manga version.
Yeah, I've been
As
reading
it goes
the manga.
on, it basically becomes more and more of your typical shonen anime.
Ah,
I like the original because the original delves much more into the idea of the science of the world. It keeps a smaller cast. It does much more with that smaller cast, and particularly with the homunculi. And it relies much more on science. Like, have you gotten to Greed in the original?
no.
Okay.
I forgot where I left off. I think one of the last things I remember was this must still be pretty early. When they first, it was either when they were find out about the brothers impersonating them, or B, after they meet the butcher.
That's early. That's still like season 1.
Or after they meet the butcher.
Yeah, that's early in the show.
The butcher that's still in the armor.
Oh, so he's in the... Well, because the butcher is originally human.
I know.
So you're talking about when they meet the butcher and he's now in the armor.
Yes.
Okay, that's Lab 5. After that, the whole Lab 5 stuff is done, that's when Brotherhood and the original deviate. That's the point that they deviate, is the Lab 5 story. Right after that. All I will say is I like the fact that in the original, Edward's style for defeating enemies is much more based off of using tactics and using the science of alchemy to his advantage.
That's okay. Hearing that makes me, and I'm pretty sure Mark, think that you may like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because that's all the battles are, is using tactics to figure out how to beat this enemy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, there's a difference, because it's not just the tactics. It's literally him using science.
Ooh,
because alchemy, at the end of the day, is based around, science and breaking down chemical compositions into different chemicals.
I know,
So
but the way they use it, but the way it's portrayed in the show, it's magic. It's hard.
It is magic, but it has to still use
its in-world logic.
Yeah.
It has to still use the in-world logic of how elements function.
Yeah.
Like, the best example is where for the test, the guy basically uses some trees and some water to create a hot air balloon. Because he transmutates the trees into paper and then the water into steam, and he's got a hot air balloon.
Cool. All right. So other anime that I never really watched or got into was Bleach, One Piece, Demon Slayer, Inuyasha, Rurouni Kenshin, and Yu Yu Hakusho.
You should add Case Closed and Lupin the Third onto your list.
I did see one episode of Lupin the Third, but
Case Closed is still going.
Yeah, it is.
know.
In Japan.
Yeah, but isn't it called something else?
Same thing with Lupin.
Yeah.
Lupin is Japan's Mickey Mouse. He will not disappear.
Well, no, that's different. See, that's different. That's a character that they keep rebooting over and over again because they love him so much.
I know.
Case Closed is literally, the original manga is still going, and it's like 30 or 40 years old.
I know.
Anyways,
yeah, Case Closed is rivaling One Piece.
Well,
fighting each other.
the author literally said he has no plans to ever end it.
damn.
He has no plans to end Case Closed?
No, because he said basically because it's a mystery thing, he can just keep it going forever because there's always new ways to solve cases.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think he said he never has a way to. I don't think he said that he is planning to never end it, but there was an interview where he said, "Oh yeah, I love the manga because since they're always coming up with new ways to solve cases, it gives me so much more fuel for the manga."
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So like, he didn't outwardly say it, but he said like he basically could if he wanted to.
Damn. So anyways,
I bet, you know what? I bet he does have an ending planned.
Yeah.
Just in case he shares the same fate as the late great Miura of Berserk fame.
Yeah.
But like until then, he is gonna milk this till
To the ground.
he is going to squeeze every single drop of blood out of that stone.
I mean, people like it.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically like CSI. They keep going.
So, anyways, with not only was I into DBZ, but I also watched the original Dragon Ball. But I only watched a little bit of it, except when it came to the Piccolo sagas. That's when I started watching more of the original Dragon Ball.
I've only seen clips of the original Dragon Ball. I've never watched it.
I watched GT and Super, but I have not read the manga for Super. And speaking of manga, I highly recommend Dead Man Wonderland, even though the show got canceled. And despite me liking weird shit, I thought Bobo was too weird for me.
All right.
GT at least had interesting ideas. It just didn't execute them well.
My favorite moment in DBZ was when Boo fought his evil half, who ended up winning, later transforms into Super Boo, and he liquefies himself inside one of the mercenaries' bodies.
That
He killed
was
Hercule and his puppy
weird,
until he exploded.
That was weird, though, the two different Boos.
Yeah. I mean, well, they did have Kami and Piccolo.
Yeah. I mean,
were there Adult Swim episodes?
Yes,
shows
we are
that
going to
you
go
wanted to talk about
to the Adult Swim right now, our exposure to it. I saw a commercial where the slogan was "All kids out of the pool," as well as seeing a clip of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and I thought it looked so dumb, but that was the whole point of the show. It's so funny yet dumb at the same time, and I got into it.
I mean, obviously our favorite show is, tell you what, why don't you go and pour me a little bit of a full glass of that rum? No ice. Bert, no, hey.
Which one was that?
That's from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, that.
It's an
Get
episode.
out of my way, you stupid whore!
I have a demon inside of me. It's the one where they made fun of VeggieTales with fruit, and the orange is voiced by Mabel.
I saw that.
And the banana is Jersey.
I saw that episode. I saw the episode with you guys.
Well,
a while back. I was like, no.
I was gonna mention my exposure because I got into Adult Swim when I was about 13 years old. Watched reruns of Family Guy, Futurama, and watched other shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Robot Chicken, Metalocalypse, The Boondocks, Super Jail, Rick and Morty, Black Dynamite, Mr. Pickles, Mike Tyson Mysteries, and Smiling Friends. And I regret not watching enough Squidbillies though. I can't feel my balls, Daddy. Balls a state of mind, son. I do it pretty good early.
Yeah, but I can do it even better, Rusty.
Yeah.
Daddy, I don't think that's a good idea, Daddy.
Shut your mouth, boy. You do what I say.
Daddy, don't hit me, Daddy.
I don't slap the shit out of you, boy.
Daddy, you keep hitting me. Them social services, they're going to show up again. I don't like what they do to me, Daddy.
Let them come.
For me, when it came to Adult Swim, it was either Robot Chicken or Venture Brothers.
Oh, Venture Brothers is good.
Yeah, I've watched
it's too bad
very
it got
little.
canceled.
Right? I wish Venture Brothers had a good,
I'm not
solid
sure.
ending.
Well, there was an announcement a while back that they were going to do basically a movie to end the series,
Cool.
but I don't know if that's still going ahead because they've been chopping stuff left and right. I'm hoping it's.
I hope so.
Anyways.
I hope so because Venture Brothers deserves to have a
and like
good
the last episode
grand
ends
finale.
on a really big cliffhanger.
I haven't seen the last episode. The last episode I remember. The last episode, it was the season after the lab was destroyed, and they were still adjusting to a new life. I remember.
I'm tempted to tell you, but it's like because it's only the last episode in terms of, at the time when they got canceled, because there was plans to do more. Obviously,
it was the season where the Monarch was still still trying to maintain his rights as Dr. Venture's arch nemesis, and he was trying to
way
bump
behind with so many of these shows.
And he was trying to bump off the villains.
So anyways,
you're behind.
Yeah.
So let's discuss our favorite episodes. Mine was the Pickle Rick episode from Ed, Edd N Eddy. I mean, not Ed, Edd N Eddy. Rick and Morty. I'm sorry.
I really haven't watched Rick and Morty, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like it's a bit overrated, though, the show. So I don't know if I want to catch up on it.
Well, you have to have an incredibly high IQ to
Damn
understand
it.
Rick and Morty.
You don't have to have a high IQ
I'm
to
joking.
look at and understand that a show is shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it, public.
Okay. My other favorite episode.
To be fair, I gave Rick and Morty a try. I could not get past 5 minutes of that show.
Man.
I hated all the characters. I could not stand it. I could not stand to be in that world. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it.
Damn. Okay. My favorite episodes of
But tell us how you really feel.
my
I'm joking.
my favorite episodes of Smiling Friends have to be the Mr. Frog episode, the episode where Charlie goes to hell and meets God at the end, who's voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. My favorite episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force has to be Ham Banana. I like the episode of the Boondocks where we find out about the bad story of why Uncle Ruckus is such a racist. I like the Booty Warrior episode, the Stink Meaner episodes, when Ruckus met his favorite country singer who's just as racist as he was. I love the episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force where Shape becomes black. And we already talked about the VeggieTales episode. I also want to learn how to deep fry a cow after watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Well,
And I miss Dr. Weird.
One that doesn't really get talked about that I liked is C-Lab.
I never really watched C-Lab that much.
It was pretty good. I love the one where the guy gets trapped onto the vending machine and marries a scorpion.
Didn't C-Lab overlap with the Space Ghost?
Yeah, I think so.
So anyways,
Look, every time I move my arm like this, it costs Cartoon Network like $10.
Yeah.
so you were mentioning Robot Chicken earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that earlier. So what the darkest sketch to me was, it was not the Tooth Fairy segment. It was the one where Pinocchio becomes a real boy for less than 24 hours, where a bully calls him the F word, the derogatory term for homosexual, because if I say it, I'm going to get canceled. He gets beat up, has an allergic reaction to peanut butter, gets sent to the hospital to find out he's immunosuppressed, has a catheter put inside him, gets staph infection, has a seizure, has his chest open with a rib spreader, and dies. Yeah. Look at his face, Brian. I mean, Shadow. Look at his face. But the Shrek sketch was pretty good. The Godzilla sketch was good.
I haven't watched Robot Chicken in a while, I'm going to be honest.
The Godzilla sketch was good. The Training Day episode.
Yeah.
What are you really here for?
I want to be king of the monsters.
My
My
lizard.
lizard.
So if you gotta know that bullshit you heard like monster out, that shit gonna get you killed. What else?
Will you do that? You
Justifiable
tell them what I
homicide.
did. You
King
tell them what I
Kong
did.
ain't got shit
I
on
don't give a
me.
damn, because I got news for you. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
What else?
But I prefer the
Broadway one?
Broadway,
Yeah.
Godzilla on Broadway one way more.
I also like the Marvel and DC stuff they did. The Star Wars specials were good.
Oh, the Star Wars specials are legendary.
Yeah.
Mainly because they're just a compilation of some of the stuff
Yeah.
they've already made.
I
But
love
they threw in a couple of new stuff.
The True Hollywood story of the Hulk.
Hulk not angry anymore, and he ain't.
Oh God. I just had to bring that up. Anyways, I also like that they did some WWE sketches and they actually had some of the wrestlers as guests. Like, for example, they did a parody of Lawrence of Arabia and they had the Iron Sheik as a guest. It was great. He was just putting everyone to camel clutch saying, I'd make you humble.
It is fun. They do that a lot, though, getting the old voice actors.
Yeah,
Like, I remember them getting David Kaye to reprise his role as Megatron in one skit of Robot Chicken.
They
Well, I think-
wanted to get Peter Cullen for Optimus Prime, but he felt like, no, I don't want to disrespect the character.
I
Good
think
on Colin.
I think one of my favorites is the Inspector Gadget Terminator.
Yeah.
Because they got Cree Summers to do Penny again.
Yeah. How about the Funny Muffins one?
You think?
Your
Yeah.
name, Funny Muffin. The Funny Muffin.
Okay,
Say
that
it.
was dark.
Yeah.
That one was dark.
Well, I like people basically said, "Oh, look, it's Elmira's daughter."
Yeah, pretty
Oh.
much. Same voice.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, I was going to
Well,
mention...
that has to be why they specifically asked Cree Summers to do that one, is
Yeah.
because
What are your favorite reoccurring characters in Robot Chicken? Because we
Humping
have like
robot.
the humping robot,
Mad
the nerd,
scientist.
the mad scientist, bitch pudding,
Oh,
the
probably bitch
screaming gummy
pudding.
bear.
Oh, the screamy gummy bear.
I'm a gummy bear,
I think that was Mila Kunis doing the voice.
Yeah.
Really?
Shut up, Meg.
No, I think it is her.
Yeah.
Oh my God, her voice must have hurt
Definitely.
so much after screaming. So
Yep.
they must
No,
have...
because we were talking about DBZ. You want to
Oh
talk
yeah,
about the Super-
Goku's voice actor almost passed out.
I think he partially did
Oh
when he
shit.
did the Super Saiyan 3
Yeah.
scream.
Yep.
Like that's a well-known story.
Yep, that's true. Let's see. I said I like the Ham Banana episode, and I love the end where Carl makes a dog of himself. Hey, what the hell you looking at? I'm your father. I just made you. Oh, I got your father right here. I got your daddy. Oh, yeah. Tonight.
You do a disturbingly good Carl.
Thank you. Okay, so
How do you pronounce his last name?
Brutanalinsky, I believe.
Yeah, it's
It's a weird Italian name.
Well, it's obviously just to make fun of it.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting ones that doesn't get talked about, Metalocalypse.
Yeah. I wish they didn't cancel it. That was a good show. I like.
Oh, shoot.
yeah.
Speaking of canceled cartoons, none of us ever. This is a crime. None of us have ever brought up Megas
XLR.
Megas XLR.
yeah.
I never really watched that much, but I do remember the hot dog eating contest episode where he's up against this guy that looks like Gabe Newell, and when the big dude won, he's like, "Okay, you won." He's like, "No, I'm not done yet." That's what I would do if I was in an eating contest.
Well, the sad thing behind that is that the creator, because Cartoon Network is literally doing nothing with it
Mm-hmm.
and never will, he's tried to get the rights back from Cartoon Network, but they basically said, if you want the rights, you got to pay us, because I think they used it as a tax write-off.
They did.
Like they're doing with a lot of these shows. And in order to do that, he would have to pay the tax write-off that they got, which is like a couple of $100,000.
So anyways, the future of Cartoon Network, well, we already talked about that. I mean, there is Cartoonito, which is a preschool program. Who cares about that? And we already know about The Purge, and guess what? The only survivor was Uncle Grandpa.
Yikes.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just the Steven Universe episode that survived, or maybe it was his show that's just still streaming, even though there's no new
Well, I mean,
episodes.
even-
Because Infinity
what-
Train and Meow Meow
Yeah.
are gone.
Freaking the creator of Uncle Grandpa, his reaction to The Purge drew Uncle Grandpa with a gun in his mouth.
Well,
It's on his
if-
Twitter, I believe.
If Infinity Train has also been used as a tax write-off, that's another show that's never going to see the light of day no matter what.
Just like Reboot.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
I don't think that... No, that wasn't used as a tax write-off because you've
I know.
done that one.
I know it wasn't a
They
tax
tried to
write-off,
use
but
that
it's
one.
a certain circumstance where it will never see the light of day.
I mean...
It's not
Dude, we could do an entire podcast in terms of what went down with Reboot. Because that
And
was...
Mainframe Entertainment.
I never watched Reboot, though.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's good.
I take your word for it.
It's good. You'll have to get past the first season, though.
Yeah, the first season's kind of campy.
Yeah, you told me. The later seasons get better and
Oh,
darker.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I heard that with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, they're having another movie coming out. Like, I don't know if it's going to be...
Another movie?
Yeah, like they had a movie came out in theaters like back in the day, and they're having like I think a special that's going to stream, or if it's going to be on DVD, I don't know, but it looks amazing.
Well, I mean, another show that we didn't actually talk about, we kind of skipped over it. We didn't talk about Teen Titans.
Oh, I mean the original or go?
No,
The
I'm talking
original.
about the original. That was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
was
was
good.
that was another show I watched back in high school.
Mhm.
I ended up really loving that
I mean,
show.
I watched it because like I knew who Robin was, but I didn't know these other characters, and I actually enjoyed it.
I remember sharing the show with my niece, and she said her favorite character was either Robin or Beast Boy. And then I went down the list of what the characters that she liked as a rank, and she put Starfire last, but then a couple more episodes. We went through a couple more episodes, and she
Well-
ended up liking Starfire as well.
Well, part of it is Starfire never really gets a season to herself.
Yeah, she
Exactly.
did have
She
that
gets-
one episode.
No, she gets episodes.
She gets episodes, but
But
she
it's
did
like-
not have a dedicated season to
Oh
herself.
yeah.
Almost
'Cause,
each
like,
of the
with-
characters had a season.
Yeah,
Season
Robin,
Season 1
Cyborg,
had
Starfire.
Robin.
Yeah.
Season 2 had Terra.
Uh-huh.
Season 3 had
No,
Cyborg.
Season 2, other than the stuff going on with Terra, that was mostly Cyborg's episode because it focused a lot on the Brother Blood stuff.
Yeah.
No, that was season 3.
No, season 3 was Raven.
Yeah.
No, season 4 was Raven.
No,
Season
four.
5 was Beast Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Season 2 was, yeah, you're right. So Starfire never really got a dedicated season.
Never got a dedicated season, but her story is littered throughout the rest of the series. So
what's really interesting is that almost all of the main Titans in that are wildly out of character from the comic books.
Yeah.
Because Robin, obviously, they basically play him as a mini Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even at that time, in the late 90s, early 2000s, at that point, he had started to be reestablished as...
Nightwing, right?
Well, not just Nightwing, but he had also been kind of... let's face it, original Robin in the comics kind of really had nothing to him.
Yeah.
Like way back in the day. But it's like at that point, he had already kind of been reestablished as the wisecracker, as kind of the Spider-Man type personality. So it's like they play him as Batman, even though that's wildly different from what his personality was at the time. Because I was reading the Nightwing comics at the time. You had Raven, where...
Goth girl with daddy issues?
Yeah, she's meant to actually be much more... verbose. She's meant to be much more like this character who has grown up not just isolated, but also put through intense learning. Learning. Like she has a very wide vocabulary. She's meant to be like the, young but has that old sage type of personality.
I think the one character that they did get right was probably Cyborg, because that's how he is. Really? They changed him in the comics too?
No, the show changed a lot about what Cyborg was about.
Oh.
Cyborg's personality in the early comics, when he was an early part of the Teen Titans...
Was like a tortured soul?
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like Ben?
Yeah, he was still very much getting used to being a cyborg and hating it, and it took a long time for him to come to terms with what he was.
So what we're seeing in Teen Titans is him having already come to terms to a point.
Yeah, but even then...
he still has his struggles.
And he kind of just became more rounded and laid back. He wasn't really the fun goofing around one. The character they probably got the most right was Beast Boy.
Yeah.
Because Beast Boy in the comics was the goofing around character, but it was a bit more his jokes tend to cut a bit deeper.
Yeah.
He tended to be a bit more not sarcastic. Yeah.
Kind of like Mikey?
No, like he tended to be like, "Oh yeah, thanks for that."
Oh, I do like how Beast Boy's voice actor did end up voicing Mikey later on.
Yeah. So it's just interesting because the characters were very... And then Starfire, she did have this naivete about Earth, but also, you got to remember, and what's funny is each of those personalities does appear in an episode.
Yeah.
Starfire was much more... She's from a warrior race.
Yeah.
So she was much more like, say, like...
Thor?
Xena or Wonder Woman, but just really naive about Earth customs.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But they kind of do that. Like, Starfire in the comics was much more similar to that origin episode that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, she loved dick. Yes, she loved dick, if you know what I mean.
Grayson.
He's making the joke. And the same goes for
That's the
Cyborg.
joke.
That origin episode where he's kind of, still finding himself in terms of now being a cyborg, that's more closer to what his personality was in the comics for a long time.
Yeah.
And
I liked...
Yeah, also
I liked
fun
how in
fact,
that episode... I liked how in that episode they had, like, Beast Boy remove his mask or something. And he's like, Dude, you can't remove a superhero's mask. What about my secret identity?
You're
Dude,
green.
you have green skin and green hair.
Oh, you have green skin and pointy ears.
Anyways, with Teen Titans, fun fact, they
enough.
could not call Deathstroke. They just called him Slade.
Yeah.
And anyways, going back to Adult Swim,
Well,
I
I just wanted to finish up
Yeah.
the Teen Titans thing by saying, like, I am not dunking on Teen Titans in terms of how different the characters were. I think Teen Titans is a good example of how to make the characters different and have it still
and have
work.
their core
Yeah.
remain.
Well, and have
Let the
it
core of
work
their
because
character
let's
remain.
face it, for most people, the Teen Titans versions are the versions that they know and prefer. Like, I think the only one where people prefer a different version is probably Robin, because people prefer the more fun-loving version.
Yeah. Anyways, going back to Adult Swim, I highly recommend Smiling Friends. It's made by Zach Hadel, aka Psycho Pebbles from Newgrounds and YouTube, and he was on Oni Plays and Sleepy Cabin. He's a funny guy.
When does the check clear?
What check?
The check that you got sent for sponsoring.
Oh.
How much did you get paid for that? Just for the plug.
Let's see. So, like I said, with Teen Titans and DC and Justice League, that kind of helped me get more into the DC universe, like to know more about these characters. Because like I had no idea who Flash was back then. I had no idea who Martian Manhunter was back then, or Green Lantern was. I mean, I kind of did somewhat. I'm all like, let me guess. Like I'm guessing he was originally a white character, but they made him black for some reason. I don't know.
Which character?
Green Lantern.
I mean, well, there's been multiple Green Lanterns.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about Jon Stewart from the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said.
I mean, another show that we didn't talk about was Cow and Chicken.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember that one episode with the biker women where they come and eat your carpet.
Yeah, the carpet munchers.
That's so messed up.
Well, I think
That
what's
will not slide
amazing
today.
is, if I remember right, one person did all three voices for Cow, Chicken, and
Yeah,
the Red
it was
Guy.
Charlie Adler.
Yeah.
Yikes.
All right. Let's see. We pretty much covered everything. You think?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
For closing thoughts, I would basically say it's sad that it's basically died, but at the same time, if you look at what's kind of been going on for the last couple of years, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I could say is for Cartoon Network is thanks for the memories. All right. I think we're about done. You think?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, Renee, you can kill it.